So today we're looking at policy making. And one of the ways to sort of think about policy is to think about what the policy regulates. So we know that policy is larger than one single law, but laws are an expression of policy. So what a law regulates can be seen as an expression of policy. So for our purposes, we can divide goods into 4 categories. There are private goods. Private goods are excludable and finite, sometimes called an economic good. And what we mean by excludable and finite is that you can stop people from using them and they can get used up. You can also think about these as considered as being rival or subtractable, which basically means that if you have something and use it up, the other person can't. So if I'm eating a hamburger, it can't be eaten by someone else, right? So basically any good that is traded, hence an economic good, they're almost always private. So a hamburger, furniture, 747 airplanes, anything that is privately owned and can be purchased pretty much falls into that category. Then you have club or toll goods. These goods are excludable in a way, but they're infinite. So basically, they're excludable. You can stop people from using them if they haven't paid for them, but they are non-rival or non-subtractable. They're infinite, right? So my use of something doesn't stop you from using it. So things like cable TV are a good example of this, right? If I don't pay my cable bill, my cable gets turned off. So it's excludable, but it is infinite. Just because I have cable doesn't mean you can't have cable, right? My watching cable in no way affects your ability to watch it. So a lot of sort of community services and products of this nature fall under the category of toll or club goods, right? They're excludable but infinite. Another good example is actually toll roads. You can stop someone from entering a toll road if they don't pay the toll, but they are infinite in that my enjoyment of driving on this toll road doesn't stop you from driving there. I mean, obviously, if enough people drive on it, there's traffic, so it sort of is subtractable, but not really. So we can see, right, that private goods and toll or club goods typically are things we're going to purchase because they are excludable. Now, on the other side of things, we have common goods and public goods, both of which are non-excludable. So looking at common goods first, these are non-excludable, but they are finite. And these are also sometimes called common pool resources rather than common goods. These are the things that we're talking about when we're talking about the tragedy of the commons, right? Common goods, the commons. So they are non-excludable. You can't stop someone from using it, but they are finite, right? They can be used up. So fresh water is an example of a non-excludable good that is finite. My using fresh water could eventually use it up for you, but you can't actually stop me from getting it, right? Things also like oil fields or forests could be considered a common good. Even though my walking in a forest doesn't necessarily exclude you from doing so, at some point, if enough people start driving over to this forest and walking around it and dropping litter all over the place and everything like that, it can be used up. Finally, we have public goods. Public goods are non-excludable and essentially infinite. This means that you can't actually stop people from using them, and my use of them never interferes with your use of it. So national security or national defense is a great example of this, right? You can't, if I don't pay my taxes, you can't say, okay, well, we're not going to defend your specific, 400 square feet of this nation. Everything else we'll defend, but your little tiny area that is your home, we're not defending anymore, right? That doesn't make any sense. So it's non-excludable and it's infinite, right? The fact that I'm protected by the military doesn't mean that you are not protected by the military. Things like street lighting could be another good example of this, right? Just because I don't pay my taxes doesn't mean the streetlights are going to go off on my street. And just because I'm seeing by the streetlight doesn't mean you can't see by the streetlight.